Former two-weight world champion Ricky Hatton is in studio with Simon and myself this Tuesday morning. This is Tuesday, June the 27th. We're flying through, aren't we? Ricky in town to do a whole bunch of things, not least his work as an ambassador for a host of mental health charities. Ricky, we'll get to that. Many people fire in some questions for you, Ricky. If you want, I'll do it. Fire in a question to me, 81089, and I'll put it here to one of our finest ever boxers, one of the finest ever fighters the world has ever seen, Ricky Hatton, with Simon and myself. You travelled about, Simon, just as you did with Lennox Lewis.
I did, yeah.
You travelled about to watch this fella.
Yeah, I watched him twice. I mean, I watched him in two big fights, which makes me like a bit of a tourist, because I saw a lot of his stuff on television. But I went to the Kostya Tszyu fight, which he will know was an absolutely phenomenal atmosphere and a phenomenal achievement. And I watched him fight in Boston, where he fought Luis Coloso, right?
Yeah, Luis Coloso, yeah.
Because I used to live down in Boston, and it was a hell of a fight.
Yeah, that was my toughest fight.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think, obviously, getting beat by Pacquiao like I did was very difficult to come to terms with, and Floyd Mayweather was just technically so good. But I mean, from a physical point of view, you know what I mean? Because I never made fights easy, for myself. I was always going to have it out with someone. And when I moved up to 10 stone 7, when people like, they win titles at sort of different weights, don't they? You think at bantamweight, you go from 8 stone 6 to 8'10" to super bantam, that's £4, and then you go from super bantam to featherweight, that's another £4. I went to full 7, and I'm 5'6". Do you know what I mean? I'm not tall for the junior welter. You know what I mean? So to move up to welterweight, Billy Graham, my trainer, said, "No, don't do it, Rick. Don't do it, Rick." But I wanted to do what my heroes have done. I wanted to try and become a world champion in two weight divisions, and I took it, and I knocked him down in the first 10 seconds. So and I thought to myself, "Wow, I'll be in the bar in half an hour at this rate," But but he didn't. He got up, and I won it on a unanimous decision, but only by 1 point. And I think it was only the knockdown that won it. And it was the people that I could bully at 10 stone. When I got close, I could push and shove and maul him. I couldn't do at 10-7. I hit him, and the shots just bounced off him. And I went to shove him back, and he didn't move. And I thought, "Oh, this is going to be a
problem.
This is going to be a long night." And it was the worst after. The worst after I've felt. I was hot sweats, shaking, shivering, shaking, everything. I was, I couldn't even go to the after fight party. I was in such a bad way.
Really?
And every time he hit me, Floyd Mayweather wasn't a big puncher. He was technically unreal, but he was a big punching southpaw. You know what I mean? And every time he hit me,
you felt it.
Oh my Lord! Yeah.
Ricky, when you're asked, when you reflect on your own career, what's the standout fight that you are most proud of?
I think it is the Kostya Tszyu fight, because I mean, to be a world champion is an unbelievable achievement. But sometimes with so many belts in the sport, sometimes you can be a world champion, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're the best in your weight division. And I fought the best in my weight division when I fought Kostya Tszyu. He was actually number 2 pound for pound. And no one gave me a chance. And I think I was with Frank Warren at the time, and I think Frank tried to talk me out of it, a couple of times. He said, "Why don't we go for Vivian Harris, or we can go for Shanbei Mitchell?" And I said, "Listen," I said, "he's the best, Frank." And I said, "I worked hard to get to, I wanted to be the best in my weight division." I said, "So let's go for it." And I don't think anyone gave me a chance. But for him to quit on the stool at the end of the 11th round, and for such a formidable champion and punching machine, and no one gave me a chance, but for him to sit on his stool and say, "No more, I can't do any more." If I'd have knocked him out with one of my trademark body shots in the second round, it couldn't have ended as good as it did. It was a great fight, you know what I mean? And I got the microphone after, thanked the crowd as I always did, and I congratulated Kostya Tszyu, and he got the mic and he congratulated me. If I wanted my dream fight,
that would be the one.
It was better than the dream.
Yes.
It ended up better than the dream.
Yeah. Your son Campbell is now 12-0. Simon and I have been talking a lot about this father-son dynamic in boxing, which we see with Eubank Sr. and Eubank Jr. And the inference there being, Ricky, that maybe from Junior's point of view, Senior's had too much to say for himself, has had too much of an influence, possibly, on Eubank Jr. And maybe that's why there has been, albeit hopefully, a temporary parting of the ways. How do you approach that very theme with Campbell?
It's very hard, isn't it? I've done a little bit of training with Campbell over the years as he was coming through, and obviously my brother Matthew, who's his trainer now. And if I think if Campbell wanted me to train him, I think I'd have stood up to the job. And all right, son, no problem in that. But I mean, if I did have a choice, I think I manage Campbell. I think I'd rather manage him rather than train him, because it's when he fights and he comes out and Blue Moon comes on, it's absolutely horrific. I'm in bits. It's horrible, to be honest. And I think to myself,
how do you mean horrible?
Just nervous, because I know how hard a game it is, and one thing, and also when you're there and you want to give the advice or you want to do it, but there's nothing you can do. You're helpless to what's going on, and to see your son get hit and that. But I mean, so and it worked for Joe Kawasaki with Enzo, God rest his soul, and Richie and Len Woodall, and so it has worked in certain areas. I just don't think I think if he wanted me to train him, I'd have pulled my socks up and I'd have stood up to the test. But I'd much rather do where I am, because it is hard work. I've been with Nigel Benn for the last couple of weeks on this tour that we've been doing, and he said he's the same. He said he's in bits. He said when he sees Conor fight and everything like that. But sometimes it does work, doesn't it? So it's. I think you just got to see, just see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
It works for some, it don't work for others.
We're heading up to the 11 o'clock bulletin, Ricky. Before we do, and I think you're going to stay on with us if you can. You mentioned Nigel Benn. I'm keen to know where you're at regards Conor Benn. The back of the Times this morning, exclusive from Matt Lawton. A team of doctors and scientists believe they have gathered the evidence that proves that the fighter Conor Benn did not take a banned substance.
Well, I'm close to Nigel, as you know, and I'm close to Conor and everything like that. And Nigel was turning around and saying, he did the test, and it's just so tricky because you don't know whether it be foods, whether it be vitamins, whether it be protein shakes or anything. Sometimes you don't know what's in them, and mistakes can be made. But the only thing I can look when Nigel says to me, he said, "Listen," I said, if he was guilty and he had been turned there, I'd say, "Listen, son, I love you to bits, but you're on your own as far as I'm concerned now." He said, "We worked hard for the family reputation and, the legacy that the name has got in the sport, and he said, and, he took the test and he failed one, but he also took one, was it with VADA? I think
two tests, yeah.
With VADA, and but that was a random one. He didn't have to take it. He just randomly said, "Yeah, I'll take it."
Well, he did if he wanted to be inside the top 15 of the WBC, didn't he?
Oh, right. Is that
So,
is that how it works?
He took the clean boxing test and he took the VADA test, and basically he failed both. But if he's got new evidence, and this is what everyone's been waiting for.
Well,
That's right.
Everyone's been waiting for it.
He
Why didn't you do this 12 months ago? Why have a fight with everybody? Why turn the boxing board of control into an enemy? Why run after the WBC and build platforms? Why not just do this 6, 7, 8 months ago?
And prove your
And if you
innocence.
exonerate yourself, everyone's going to be bloody happy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be happy. His dad's going to be happy. He's going to be happy. Eddie Hearn's going to be happy because he's going to be able to profit out of it. Everyone's going to be happy.
Yeah, and and he needs the British Boxing Board of Control behind him. He needs Britain behind him. I shivered a little bit when he said, "Oh, I'll just go and fight somewhere else." I think, no. You need to
prove your innocence.
You need to have the board behind you. You need to have Britain behind you. You know what I mean? And listen, I believe Conor and I believe Nigel. Not just because I'm close to the family, because I just know them as people. I know them as fighters. There's been a mistake made somewhere along the line, and I think if Conor had, turned around and said, just threw his hands back and said, "I don't get this. I'm baffled. I don't know. Give me time to obviously to prove
to sort it out."
And I think he'd have gone. But I think sometimes he was saying, "Oh, I'll go fight someone else and I'll do this and I'll do that." And I think it's been handled. It could have been handled better. I think.
Sure.
But I innocent all the way for me.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.